This is Lee Bae-yong of Korea.
Points in favor. 4, 3, 2, 0. Stop looking, please. Cue getter.
And of course, the other factor is that this man is heavier than Dabaya. 68.52 Demirev, 68.12 the weigh-in for Dabaya. So the Frenchman with the edge in that department, but this is 146 now to put the Bulgarian into the lead chair.
I'm surprised. First snatch on 142 was very, very comfortable.
Advantage Dabaya.
6 kilograms.
Yeah, suggests to me that maybe when he's holding his hand, perhaps in the warm-up room, these bars are brand new bars and
sharp.
If he hasn't sort of kept the calluses down, he could have easily tore one off. And it's extremely, although it's only, oh yes, his hand's taped up. Although it's only pain, it is very difficult to put that pain out of your mind and do the lift.
Now this is interesting. Dabaya going for 146.
Well, it's sensible. Means that he's got to go for would have to go for 147 if he succeeds.
Yeah, but the Bulgarian has lifted 150 this season.
But he's just deadlifted 146 with a torn calluses. So I think that this man's sensing possibilities. Pile on the pressure. But he needs to keep over in the first phase of the pull, otherwise he's going to lose it behind. He just held on to the last one.
No.
Did exactly see? I could see that he's just leaning back at the top of the pull.
So his fortune now is in the hands of Demirev. I mean, admittedly, this is only the first half, so whatever happens, Demirev's not going to go a million miles away, so this duel is going to continue into the clean and jerk phase. And I think that's quite interesting there, because they're both around sort of 180, 185. There's only 2 or 3 kilos between them, to be honest, and that's what makes this very fascinating. So 146 to guarantee himself at worst the bronze medal in the snatch.
I think physically capable.
Yeah.
All he's got to do is put the pain of the calluses he's obviously torn off. He's just got to ignore that pain. If he can ignore that and just go through with it, he'll do it. But it's easier said than done.
No. And Dabaya, well, there was never going to be much between the two, and the honour goes to Dabaya, because what it means is that Demirev is left on 142. Now, this is really important, David, because that means he's 3 kilos down and his body weight down, which technically gives Dabaya a 4 kilo advantage going into the clean and jerk. Now, who knows whether that 4 kilos will be enough, but I think it could play a really important part. More of that later. Now we move from the hors d'oeuvre to the main course, and Lee Bae-yong, very, very experienced lifter at 25 years of age.
What it also means is that the Frenchman's guaranteed on the snatch anyway a bronze medal.
Absolutely, but more to come of that. 147 is the opener for the world bronze medalist and the Olympic silver medalist from Korea. And this should be well within his abilities. Kg Snatch of China still to start, and he is lighter than this man. Well, that'll encourage the Chinese camp a little bit.
And the French, I would think.
47 kilograms.
Yes, didn't get enough height there.
Korea, second attempt. In 2 minutes time.
So 147, is he going to follow himself?
He's going to have to follow himself, because the Chinese is posted at a massive 155.
Yeah, he did 157.5 Kg Snatch recently, last month, in the National Games.
I'm just wondering if he's going to bring his starter down. I mean, he doesn't need to go in at 155, does he? Obviously.
Well, this is the whole tactic, isn't it? Of win the medal first and then worry about everything else. Win the class. But remember, he's got to be respectful of Lee Bai-yong, because both men are very capable in the clean and jerk. And if I had to, on paper, recent stats, I might just edge towards the Korean on the clean and jerk. So if Lee Bai-yong can keep close, he's still got a major chance of the title. But of course, he's had a setback. Now, he really doesn't want to make a mistake now, otherwise he's going to put himself under unbearable pressure. That is the way to produce a snatch. Enjoyed that. Speed is really impressive.
So I'm thinking he's probably just going to take maybe 1 or 2 kilos. As you say, he's probably got the edge on the clean and jerk, so just going to try and stay as close as he possibly can.
He'd probably quite like Kg Snatch to come out and take a lift now, just so he doesn't end up having 3 clear goes to sort of disappear away. But
2, 1, 0.
Well, it does look as if he's going to follow himself, in which case, David, if those of you were with us a little earlier, we had a little contretemps, a little controversy about the wrist bandaging, as you see the current leaderboard, and got an interesting contribution in from Jeff Laws. Thanks, Jeff. And David, take us through this, because Jeff comes up, he's a technical controller, and these are the rules.
Well, Jeff's saying that the rule is that the bandage can't be more than 10 centimeters wide, and that you're only allowed 1 bandage. And I think the problem was that Kleinowska, she had a wrist bandage, but then she had a second strapping over the top. So that was where the controversy came in. But I think the issue that we were talking about was that the Chinese girl had a leather strap on, and she was being penalised for that. And of course, you know, providing it's just 1 strap, it's fine. So in that case, Jeff says that the technical controller was wrong.
Yes, and he also makes the point that they should have been examining that in the warm-up room, not at that particular phase. Anyway, back to the competition. 152 kilos, so Lee Bai-yong keeping his powder dry.
I should point out that Jeff Laws, as well as being a technical officer, is also a Commonwealth Games gold medalist. Hi, Jeff.
Say a little hello to one of our colleagues back in Paris, Sabrina. I hope you're enjoying this.
Fantastic.
152, dead easy. Having said that, you are looking at the 62 kilo Olympic champion, moving up to the 69 kilo category. Silver medalist in the World Championships in Vancouver when he snatched 147.5 kilos. When he won the Olympic Games as a 62 kilo lifter, guess what he snatched? 152.5 kilos. So you're looking at a man who's on the upward curve at the age of 25, and now Lee Bai-yong has got to try and stay with him with his 3rd and final attempt. Now, he will still stay in silver medal position in the snatch, quite simply because he's heavier than Kg Snatch. But it's not about that, it's about staying in touch. Because if it ended up that there was only 3 or 4 kilos between them, then the game is still on for the second half. But he needs this. He really needs this.
And he's got it. For my money, the best of the 3 snatches. Absolutely did everything right. So, game on.
Well, that is exactly what we wanted to see. So we know now that Dabaya of France is the bronze medalist in the snatch phase with 145, but the two men who are ahead of him have already got 157 on the board, 152 on the board. They are 7 kilos ahead, and now it's all down to Kg Snatch. First of all, to win the snatch medal and take the lead, then to build that advantage with his third attempt to try and gain what arguably could be very important kilos.
He's already won the snatch medal, but
yeah,
to increase the lead is the key thing, because I'm not sure if he's as good on the clean and jerk as the Korean. So this is to get out in front, really.
And also remember that this is the category where he's moving up, whereas Lee Baiyong is more established in this category. But clearly, on the evidence of the first attempt, he's very comfortable at 69 kilos.
He said tight back and finish your pull. Oh, phenomenal. 157. And he makes it look easy, doesn't he?
He really does. Well, I said in the national games, he did 157 and a half. I'm a little confused actually why the Chinese have got half kilos in their national games of last month, because the half kilo has been banished into history, but very strange. But nonetheless, he's right up there on the mark. Interestingly enough, he was not the winner. Now, how often have we seen that? He was actually not the winner of the national games title. That was Lee Jiong, who snatched 155 kilos with a clean and jerk of 190 for 345 total.
Having to reduce his body weight at the moment, which means you give him 6 months to a year and he's going to be breaking that snatch record. Next Olympic Games, he's going to be a very tough character to beat.
Well, remember, Dominican Republic next year for the World Championships, and then he's got Chiang Mai, where he's got to try and qualify for Beijing. Although I still maintain that I'd like to see these guys and the women qualifying on a personal basis rather than on a points count, whereby national Olympic committees are allowed to put who they choose in. I want to see the person, the man or the woman who qualifies, gets the score on the door, being the one who appears at the Olympic Games. Enough of the politics. 160. So this would be 8 kilos plus body weight, so this would depress Lee Baiyong.
Yes, it would leave him needing 9 kilos,
which is a lot. Now, how ready is he for this?
Absolutely ready. No problem. And it just makes you wonder how much further he could have gone today.
And the Chinese absolutely rampant, both in the women's and the men's division. And it just does underline, David, what we've said all along, that such is their reservoir of talent. The thousands of lifters that they have all over the country, well, it's enormous. This man's from Fujian, and the Olympic champion.
Now, what did he clean and jerk in his
in Athens?
No, in his national championships.
185.
185, and in the Olympics, I think he was around 172, wasn't he?
Correct.
Yeah, so that increase in body weight making a huge difference. But usually makes a much bigger difference on the clean and jerk. So I'm going to be interested to see how far he can go.
Well, Lee Baiyong is certainly is a 190 man at his best, and he's going to have to be at his best this afternoon. As you see, confirmation that Kg Snatch of China is in the lead by a very healthy margin of 8 kilos at the moment over Lee Baiyong of Korea, with France's Vencelas Dabaya a worthy